We are starting this trip a few miles west of Searchlight, and we're at the Walking Box Ranch, which has a lot of history in itself.
We meet our guide, Alan O'Neill, who shares some of the colorful history of this location.
Walking Box Ranch, the history goes back to the turn of the 20th century, around 1905. Clara Bow and Rex Bell bought it 1931. Clara Bow is probably the most famous movie star, maybe in the history of movie making in the U.S.
Name, right?
And Rex Bell was a country star. And that was, a silent movie era. They raised their kids here and sold it, and Rex Bell later became Lieutenant Governor of Nevada. This was the Hollywood hideout. Believe it or not, to escape the rat race, the really elite Hollywood actors at the time, Clark Gable and John Wayne and Lionel Barrymore, they all hung out here to get away from Hollywood.
This is just a starting point of our trip. We're actually here to learn about this vast area that we've never visited, but is very special. We'd love to know why it's such a special area.
Well, we've been working on trying to protect this area for over 20 years. This is one of the richest ecological areas we have in southern Nevada. We talk about the desert tortoise and such, but it's only one of 35 special status species here. So the ecology is important, but probably most important is the cultural and history of this area. That's very important to the native people. This is their place of creation. This is their very special sacred landscape. And so we came upon the thought that a national monument would be the appropriate designation. We've named this national monument Avi Kwa Ame. Avi Kwa Ame is the Mojave name for Spirit Mountains. The Mojave people are the day-to-day stewards on behalf of the other tribes because they're closest to this landscape. We wanted to honor that by calling it Avi Kwa Ame. We think it's important, very important, to protect that recreational experience. There's about 500 miles of backcountry roads. That system's been in place for several decades. We like to see that retained and people have that experience of accessing their public lands here.
Alan's going to show us around this special landscape, but before we go, I have to know where the name Walking Box came from.
Well, it's like this camera. The Walking Box was a tripod with a camera on it. That's the Walking
Is that
Box.
what they called it?
It was a movie camera.
That was a movie camera?
It's a movie camera, yeah.
Alex, you have a Walking Box.
This is the eastern extension of the world's largest Joshua Tree forest. The monument was designed to provide the elevation gradients, the niches, the migratory corridors, the things important to build resilience in this system. Well, we're at mile marker 8 on the Walking Box Ranch Road. We're in the distance is the Castle Mountains. About half of those mountain range are in California and half are in Nevada.
So right along the border.
Right on the border. We're several miles from the border. We're starting to get this grassland environment, which is very rare in the Mojave Desert. This is what they call a C4 grasslands. More common, you find that in southern Arizona and northern New Mexico. If you have a monsoonal rain and the summer heat, this will actually turn green and into the fall.
And that's a nice example of how people think that the desert's so dead, but actually it's just waiting. Yeah. It's just waiting for its moment.
It's like the wildflowers. 2020, you couldn't walk here without stepping on a wildflower. Those seeds are buried in there and they germinate only under certain climatic conditions, and it's never the same. Yeah. So someone says to you, well, wait till April that you're going to see this and that. You may not see it, or you may see something incredible you haven't seen in 10 years. The monument, it's connecting those protected areas on the California side to Lake Mead National Recreation Area, which is protected, and providing that linkage that makes sure that you retain the migratory routes, you maintain the room for species to move as we have changes in rainfall and temperature and such. So it's really, this monument becomes very important. Why would you only protect half of the Castle Mountains, or half of the Paiute Range? It doesn't make sense you know, from an ecological standpoint.
Do off-highway vehicles spend a lot of time out in this area? And
Yes, this is the best way to enjoy this environment.
The OHV enthusiasts have joined with Native tribes, local governments, and chambers of commerce to support the proposed national monument.
So when you have the conservation community, the local units of government, and the Native community, and people like the OHV.
You know who else? What other group you should have reached out to? The land sailing community. Because if you just got a little sail up there, you'd be going 100 miles an hour that way.
I was gonna say, the kite flyers, the desert kite
The
flyers.
kite flyers would be blown away. They would be flying.
You don't want to be in a hot air balloon today,
No,
Dave?
no, I don't. I really don't. Alan takes us back north to Highway 164 and then west for a short distance before turning off highway to the north.
This is part of the Wheat Thump Joshua Tree Wilderness Area. It's the first, wilderness area within just a forest environment here. For dark night sky, this is one of the best places within the proposed monument area. It's just kind of really interesting. Dark night sky surrounded by these big Joshua trees is almost ethereal.
Alan introduces us to a very important member of this forest population.
We call this a monument tree. It's the tallest Joshua tree in the state of Nevada. We have the Nevada Division of Wildlife come out and do an official measurement so that we knew it was the largest. Height is one of three things that they measure. One's the crown width, it's the widest point, and then their circumference right about 4 feet off the ground. So it's a combination of those two and the formula they have that determines what measurements are for the state records. Best guess is that's probably around 700 years old.
That would mean this tree began growing in the 1300s. It's hard to leave such distinguished company, but we return to Highway 164, then south on 95 to Christmas Tree Pass Road. Soon, we arrive at Spirit Mountain to meet Nora McDowell and Paul Jackson of the Fort Mojave tribe and Taylor Patterson of the Bishop Paiute tribe. For tribes in this region, this location has profound meaning.
This is one of the most sacred places for us. Well, this is the home of Mastempo. He's the son of our creator, and he built this, and he was supposed to have lived up there on top. And he would call people up there sometimes, and when they would hear a calling, and instruct them what they're going to be doing in life.
6 different other distinct tribes, besides ourselves, were created also from this mountain. Their creation story comes from here. To us, this is our church. We don't have a physical structure because we've never had that. This is it.
Our elders, they would only bring us up here so far because we weren't allowed to come this close not that long ago, because that's how sacred it is. But now we have to get closer in order to protect it.
How do you get people to understand and appreciate?
A lot of the public schools now right here in the valley invite us over to do presentations in the libraries and the museums, and it's by invitation. We don't ask, they just ask us, so that's...
Well, it's encouraging that there's that effort being made to reach out.
It's also a teaching area where I bring kids to learn about the plants and the animals and the insects and the ground and the sky and the cloud.
And the more that you know about it and become educated about it, the more you're going to be able to respect another culture and another people, that have been here, since time immemorial.
The land stewardship that they are teaching their young folks is so powerful and amazing, and that's that education piece. Those young folks are going to go out and tell more people about their traditions and how to treat the land and how to respect the land.
To us, and with a lot of Native American tribes, everything's alive. Everything has a spirit. We believe if you sit and listen, the mountains will talk to you, the wind will talk to you, the river will talk to you. They're all alive. You just got to sit and listen.
The wind is speaking to us today.
Yeah.
Very loudly.
The whole entire landscape is a cultural resource for the people of this land. From the indigenous perspective, this is a cyclical thing for us. We need to be a part of the land as much as the land needs us to be a part of it. And we are all feeding into that process and that cycle. And so Paul being out here and passing on his knowledge and Nora passing on her knowledge is what utilizing and saving the land is about. It's really exciting that this place has the possibility of being protected for generations and generations of people.
We've been working to try to do that for a long time, and thankful, to our good friend Alan O'Neill, who used to work for the Park Service, and he worked with our elders way back when he was superintendent. We have always had that stewardship of the land that we have to carry and hold. And so the National Monument would provide that once and for all of the land that, was our ancestral homelands, and hopefully once and for all protect the whole area so that people and our children and others that come here can enjoy what's remaining of it.
So when people come and visit, what is the best way for them to not only experience the beauty but also respect what it means?
Come here, but respect it, what you bring in, take out.
Take a drive through the desert, respectfully stay on the right path, stay respectful of the land, but just get a sense of really what is in the desert, the juniper tree and the greasewood and all of these things that I find so special. And so I really hope that all this education about Avi Kwa Ame and all this education about the potential national monument just drives people to look at what they've been overlooking for so long.
What does it mean for you on a personal level? What do you see when you come to this landscape?
Home, spirit world. They're like our golden gates into heaven.
When I come here, where I need that release, from everything, when I come here, I'm, the mountain is me, I am it. And it just brings such a relief to me, and yet it also restores me in my heart, mind, and soul. And so to me, it means everything as a Mojave.
You made me feel it today.
Yeah,
It's now a different place to me. Hopefully people come away with a greater understanding and do exactly what you say.
Yeah,
That's what we would hope for.
well, that's my prayer.
It's a transformational experience to be here and have Nora, Paul, and Taylor share the meaning of Avi Kwa Ame with us.
As of the time we're completing this program, this is still only a proposed national monument, but regardless, we've certainly learned a lot about the value that this land holds for so many.